like we were talking before, it's really important that you think of yourself as a good person. It's important to be not only one, because you want to think of yourself as a good person. Usually most of these virtues are when you're interacting with someone. I mean, you can have loyalty, I guess, to yourself. You can have empathy for yourself, to have like a saying, like my family, a saying that we have is, "Welcome to the Snowy Show." For today's deep dive, we are going to be talking about what makes good character. Now, I kind of came to this question. Now, I've thought about this for a while, but what this is, hold on. First off, what this is, let me put this in context. I'm not saying I have good character. I'm not, trying to project. I'm not even sure I fully understand what this means. What this is this is an attempt for me to. This is an attempt to write down on paper what I think good character is, and so that I understand it better. We'll go into more on that. But the first thing I want to talk about is, why is having good character important? I think it's important for two reasons. First, having good character is important for yourself. Thinking you're a good person is extremely important. There's times where I don't want to say, "Oh, I'm a good person," but I want to think I'm a good person, right? I do. And I'm pretty sure most people want to believe that they themselves are a good person. And so, having or understanding what good character is extremely important in being able to perceive yourself as a good person. And so it's helpful in that aspect. Second, why is it important? It's important on a societal aspect. It's important to understand what good character is, so that you can have better relationships with the people around you. Because good character is a pretty universally understood concept, or mostly it's not. I don't think it's understood, but I think when people see it, they understand it. It's so deeply intertwined with our cultures that when you see someone with good character, you can recognize it. And when you see someone without good character, you can also recognize it. I do often tell myself that, rather than necessarily being a good person, I am not a terrible one. I find that tends to make the self-righteousness. Yeah. Well, see, that's also something that's important too. That does take the self-righteousness out of it. But in the words that you're using, you are really lowering the bar, right? It's lowering the bar to, hey, I'm not an awful person. And, I mean, if that works for you, that's great. But, lowering the bar to that, lowering the bar, I mean, if it works, if it makes you feel better, that's the singularly most important thing, is you feel good. And that's what it's about. That's why it's important to do this. That's why it's important to try to follow these things, because you need to feel good. That's the point. That's the point. And you need to go to bed at night and understand, you were in a social interaction, and you feel no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Now, okay. There's different situations that can unfold, but anyway, so first off, yet good is such a high bar now. Is it not why even you dare not to say that you are? Well, I think I'm not sure. I don't want to say I'm good, because to me, I feel like me saying that about myself is too narcissistic. And while I do think I can be pretty narcissistic sometimes, I would rather people tell me I'm good Now I believe I'm a good person. I believe that, but like, you know, saying it out loud, I think it's a different thing. But I think regardless, I don't think saying something is good is a high. I mean, we can make it a high bar, but that I think that's a different conversation of like, where should we put the bar in the first place? Should we have the bar of being good, something you should cross over, or no, I guess so. I guess so. To be a good person, it should be some sort of bar you have to clear. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah. I guess it is a high bar. No. This is something that this is the point of this. This is the point of this. It's for me to, because as I'm talking it out, I appreciate the apology, but this helps me think it out some more. But yeah, I mean, I think it should be a high bar for people to clear, because if it wasn't a high bar, it's like, you know, it's like it's like when someone says, "Oh, my partner's so great, they don't like beat me." It's like, okay, I don't know if that's like a bar that should be like, I think that's like kind of a pretty low bar. You know, I think that's it's a bit like, it's a bit, you know, it's a bit, you know, much for an example, but it's that kind of thing. It shouldn't be like a low bar to clear. It should be a high bar. Having good character is usually the term people use. People don't really say you have great character. I've never really heard people use it in that way. Anyway, so in this discussion, there's three things I want to talk about: values, virtues, and principles. I think these are all kind of what make good character, at least in my mind. There probably is other ways to classify having good character. If that's the case, that's fine. For this discussion, I think it's important. This is just how I see it. So values, I'm getting this definition from the Cambridge Dictionary. Values are the beliefs people have, especially about what is right and wrong and what is most important in life, that control their behavior. So things like family/moral traditional values, or the quote, "I don't work on Sundays, it goes against my values." I believe values is a personal thing. This is the personal side of having good character, that keeps you, you know, believing you're a good person, keeps you centered, right? It keeps you on track. Keeping to these things, I think, helps. So we see the trust, communication, pride, perfection, excellence, confidence. You know, these are all different values that make up who we think of ourselves, or like make up what we think of ourselves, and help us, you know, keep moving down the road every day, keeping it pushing. And it's like one of the first like pillars to having good character, because like we were saying before, oh, you can't really see it. Anyway, like we were talking before, it's really important that you think of yourself as a good person. It's important to be not only one, because you want to think of yourself as a good person, but because there's going to be points in your life, there's going to be points in time, there's going to be people you meet where your values are going to be tested, things are going to be tested. And, you know, like, let's say you're in an argument with someone, your values are going to be tested in some way or another. And so trying to keep to your values, trying to continue to be honest, continue to, you know, be confident, continue to be trying to, you know, communicate and all that. No matter how the argument or the situation goes, taking, you know, coming away from it, regardless of what happens and regardless of what happened in the conversation, you can feel like, hey, even though like this situation happened and I didn't really want it to, I came out of it understanding that, hey, you know, I'm still on the even keel. But also I think it's hard because this is such a broad topic that there's so many different like ways. It's like, oh, what about like this hypothetical, or what about this hypothetical, like like, because I've seen the situations in where two people get into an argument, and one person takes away from the argument that they're in the right. They feel like they're in the right. They feel like, hey, they didn't step back on their values. They didn't compromise. But from an outside observer, you can very easily see that person was in the wrong. You can very easily see it's like, hey, like, you're the problem. And so it's on one hand, you want to try to stick to your values, but on the other hand, some of your values should be being able to take criticism, being able to understand someone who's having a problem with you, like on the picture right here, communication. You want to be able to communicate with someone problems, and that's something where just sticking to your values, like, I don't work on Sundays, it goes against my values. That's that where it's like, I don't want to budge, right? I'm being stubborn. I believe this thing, you can't change my mind. I wonder, do you adhere to the values of God? Do you believe that we as humans needed do you believe that we as humans needed such tenets by someone who was and is, shall always be, or so is it? Yeah, so I put that in there because Cambridge Dictionary had that in there. I figured, I thought about this and I'm like, I'm not personally religious. If you are, I don't have a problem with that. Perfectly fine. But no, I think I'm not sure if I want to get into that. I'll say this. I think it's important. It was important for people to have like rules, because I mean, if you look at a lot of I'm going to talk about Christianity specifically. I'm from the US, so that's a lot of what I know. Most of what's in the Bible, and like most of the tenets, most of the values that are in there, I'm talking about like New Testament stuff, not Old Testament. It's pretty like I don't want to say basic stuff, but it's like, hey, be nice to people. Like, hey, don't hurt people, don't steal. Love people, that kind of stuff. Right? And so it's pretty basic. But I think it is important for people to have a like bigger concept that they can like follow and believe in. And I think a lot of people need it. I think a lot of people need that. Because there is no, this whole thing, we are literally on like a rock hurtling through space, right? Like this is just complete chaos. It's all complete chaos all the time. We need some sort of structure in our lives. And I think having, religion be that structure is extremely important for a lot of people. Me personally, it doesn't, I just haven't really needed it. But I know a lot of people, especially at work, a lot of the customers I've worked with, they need it. And they really, they find a lot of meaning in it. And, I really respect them for that. And so, these values that are taught by these religions, I think are extremely important. I think some people believe we as a society only think that tenets are basic because they are so ancient and rooted within human culture, which in the end is praise for God and scorn for our own humanity. I think they're basic. Praise for the God. I think it's just, it's just like a road you can follow, and it's just to keep yourself grounded. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure if it's like a scorn for like our own humanity. I mean, I think this is all just you know, it's I don't know if it's, does it not seem to imply that we as humans could never have thought of basic ideas? No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because, you know, people have to like get along to like kind of survive. And I think, I mean, we kind of have to like get along to survive. And like, I don't know about ancient religions. I don't know, like even before Christianity. I'm not too sure about like before that. I mean, I know like, you know, the Greek and like the Greek pantheon and all that. I know like the Hindu and the Hindu and what's the predominant one in China and Asia? I don't know too much about those, but I mean, I think it's more of someone's like, hey, you know, we already kind of believe all this stuff. Surely humans could have come up with the camaraderie ourselves without. I mean, I think it's just the easiest way to go about doing it. Because it answers really, I mean, it's really, you know, hitting like a bunch of birds with one stone, right? It gives people like, hey, these are things you should live by. Hey, these are like guidelines you should live by. Most people already know this, but it's like, hey, we just wrote them down so you can like kind of go over them and like remind them. And it's easier to teach people this stuff too if it's all like consistent. It's like, it's all pretty consistent. Like, hey, you know, you can teach your son it, you can teach your grandson, you know, going down the line. It's a lot easier if it's all written down. But also it's like, hey, you know, what are we doing this all for? It answers that as well. Like, hey, what's the end goal here? I don't really know, other than just surviving every day. Is there an end goal? And you know, that end goal has like changed over time. I know there was I was just listening to a book today. They were talking about the Protestant Reformation that happened, you know, swept across Europe, and how working became a moral good. It's good, morally good to work. And so, you know, it's just a way for people to live their lives with all this chaos. Confucius? No, it's Confucianism. I thought it was something else. Confucianism. I think that's what it is. I thought it was something else. Taoism. That's what it was. Taoism. I shall keep quiet. No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate this. I appreciate the discussion back and forth. It's helpful to it's helpful to better understand these thoughts when you're, you know, going back and forth. It's not a debate. I wouldn't call it that, but it's just discussion. I don't remember. All right. So that's values. Next is virtues. Now I remember a discussion. Like this was years ago. I remember listening to a discussion. I might not be able to remember it fully. I'll talk about it after. Maybe we'll get to it. Anyway, so this is the definition from the Cambridge Dictionary again. So virtue is a good moral quality in a person or the general quality of being morally good. So these are like patience is a virtue. So other virtues might be empathy, honesty, humility, loyalty, positivity, punctuality. I think this is more of a cultural thing. So this is more of a societal thing that people put on you. And I say this because depending on where you're around the world, because I'm in the West, I'm in the, you know, Western part of the world, the types of virtues that, especially here in America, we value are a lot different than what you find in, you know, let's say maybe South America, or, you know, in Africa, or in Asia, you know, somewhere in the East. Or the South. And so I think, you know, all of these are still virtues regardless, but how much people value them changes from place to place. It's a cultural thing. We're brought it up. I would say hard work, especially in the United States, is a virtue. Being dependable. Being punctual, entrepreneurship, definitely. That's definitely a very American value. Teamwork, yeah, loyalty, honesty, positivity. I think these are all important things, and this makes up the I must contest with you on the topic of loyalty as simply cultural. No, that it is a worldwide thing. It is worldwide. I'm just saying that the cultural aspect of it, some places in the world might view loyalty more important than honesty. Some places might view loyalty as more important than punctuality or temperance or wisdom. That's what I mean by that. I mean, a lot of places around the world would probably view loyalty more important than just about anything, or integrity, optimism. No problem. So virtue is the second part, the second pillar that I think holds up good character. So values being in yourself. Virtues is how people around you, how you interact with the world around you, and how you, you are doing things personally to affect the outside world, but this is more of a how people see you, right? Because usually most of these virtues are when you're interacting with someone. You can have loyalty, I guess, to yourself. You can have empathy for yourself, punctuality for yourself. I don't know. No. Teamwork with yourself. I don't know. Faith with yourself, love for yourself. Yeah. But generally, most of these things require another person. They require someone else being there and interacting with that person for you to have a virtue. And I remember, I don't know if I can remember this properly, but I thought it was interesting. It was like a Greek. It was during the time of the Greeks. I don't know if this was like a philosopher that was saying it, but they were wondering, were the gods virtuous? The gods of Greek, myth, were they virtuous because they themselves are virtuous, or are they virtuous because humanity is virtuous and they just copied humanity? I thought it was an interesting subject. I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure if I have more than that. I just thought it was interesting hearing that discussion. I guess it was kind of a chicken or the egg kind of thing. I gotta look that up again. I thought it was an interesting subject. I don't remember exactly what like the deeper meaning behind, what came first. Are we copying the gods, or are the gods copying us? Where do we get this virtue from? Maybe it was something like that. Yeah, it's important for this whole thing of having good character. It's important that people recognize you having these things. This is an extremely important pillar of this discussion. Never. They are guilty of so many crimes. In fact, in Greek myth, I do believe that humanity was crafted by the gods' older brothers. The 100-handed ones? I'm not too sure. I'm not too much of a buff in the Greek myth. I just remember a discussion that I think Greek philosophers were having with the gods, where were the gods trying to be virtuous because they themselves are virtuous, or were the gods trying to be virtuous because humanity's virtuous? And I'm not too sure. And yes, they there was a lot wrong. They did do a lot of bad things. they were definitely even if they were trying to be virtuous, the Greek gods failed. I guess they almost all of them completely failed in that. I know they did a lot of good things. They did do good things and they did do bad things. Does that mean that they were wholly bad? I don't think so. Some of the stuff they did, yeah. So, some of the stuff they did would, you know, looking at the big picture, their pros and cons. Yeah, probably. I think virtue is kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to like wrap my head around like what it means. Greek mythology blames the entirety of humanity's suffering on Zeus being petty after Prometheus saved our species. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I know Zeus Zeus was like, you know, very he was very, very problematic. He did a lot of bad things. He did a lot of bad things. Yeah, I have like a hard time kind of understanding what virtues are, but I did before, but actually like putting them down on paper helps me like understand what these all are, and like understanding that this is like a outside myself kind of thing. I mean, it's like an outside myself kind of thing. I mean, I can be virtuous, but that kind of thing is really in the eyes of people. I'm virtuous in the eyes of people. I mean, I can't call myself virtuous unless people call me that. But, you know, that goes back to the virtue is a quality we define as good. Yeah. That's it's what we define as good. Yeah, the general quality of being morally good. But we put that on other people, right? Other people put that on us. Because like I said, you can't have faith in, I mean, you can have faith in yourself. You can't, I mean, can you have foresight in yourself? Can you have integrity in yourself? Right. I mean, a lot of these, you can have them in yourself. I don't know. Maybe some of them you can have for yourself. But I think generally when people talk about virtues, it's, perhaps we do not always mean it. Perhaps some use good as a trap to pressure others. Yeah. That's one of the sticky points about this kind of thing, because depending on the culture, these types of things can be like that. Very specifically, we look at Hinduism. Hinduism has the idea of karma. Now, you can look at karma as like, hey, do good stuff and you'll be rewarded by, you know, whenever you reincarnate into your next life, you know, you'll be gifted or you'll have a better life. But from what I understand, karma is used to enforce the caste system in India. So if you are born poor, that's because a previous lifetime you did bad things. And so you deserve to be poor. You deserve to be mistreated. But the people who are rich, those people were good in their past life. And so they're allowed to, you know, treat other people as under them, which, you know, and so in your example or in your question, my definition of karma is far too warped by cultivation. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, me too. When I was talking about Taoism, I was thinking about like the Tao, and I was like, I read way too many, like, I read a lot of cultivation web novels. Wuxia. Well, do I? Maybe not that specifically. No, I read I read a lot of manhwas. And so that's kind of like, you know, I mean, it helps me think about all this stuff. But yeah, so like the caste system in India, it kind of like reinforces, so this quote unquote good that people are trying to live up to. One of the good things is to treat people lower on you in the caste poorly. It's a good thing to do that, right? I don't know the specifics. Obviously, you know, I don't know the specifics. I don't know the whole picture. But from what I understand and what growing up, you know, going through school taught me, these are the things I understand about it. And so, you know, you can warp that perception of what is good and use it Anyway, ever heard of such a thing? What, the caste system? Yeah. Would it not benefit the rich to be benevolent? That's where the contradiction comes in. It's a contradiction, and that's that. Yeah, as I was saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, this seems kind of I'm kind of noticing some problems here. Yeah. Yeah, you'd think that. I'm not too sure about the specifics. Like I said, I don't know the specifics of the culture. I just know the generalized way I've seen the caste system portrayed here. Now, obviously, I'm in the West, and that's in the East, and so we're gonna be there's some westernization of the system that I don't fully understand. But generally, that's the idea of what can be good and bad can be warped. We look at like the Old Testament in Christianity. There was things that were like stoning people of certain denominations, stoning people of certain faiths, or with certain like beliefs, which obviously isn't good. But good, what is good and what is wrong is a subjective thing, and it changes throughout time and changes, it ebbs and flows. What can be good, what people can view as good. But this is why having good character and understanding these things, understanding these elements of it, understanding these pillars of it, helps keep you centered. It helps keep you at least on the right track. Our last pillar of what a good character is principle. So I'm getting this definition from Merriam-Webster. So principle is a comprehensive and fundamental law, doctrine, or assumption. So a man of principle, struggling to be true to one's principles. It's really quite funny when someone asks, when is executing children ever considered good? And I bring up the concept of cursed children. Yeah. The idea of what's good and what's bad changes with time, changes with, again, culture. That it changes with culture. And so it's difficult to, that's why I was also saying, here, let me, that's why I was saying things like different virtues might be more important, like loyalty in certain cultures might be so much more important. You can be the worst person ever. You cannot have any other virtue, but as long as you're loyal, nothing else matters. I mean, we look at that in different eras in time, and we look at that in the like the fascist movements, and in the 1930s and 40s in Germany and Japan and Italy, where loyalty was all that matters. Nothing else matters as long as you follow what we want. Or in Russia, that too. Nothing else matters. All that matters is you follow what we say. And now they use it to their own ends, right? And so this is where it's more complex. On paper, it makes sense, but the world isn't, the real world isn't black and white. It's just shades of gray, right? Principle is a comprehensive and fundamental law, doctrine, or assumption. Again, I think this is like a mix of the two, but it's principles you have on your life. Now, I think it's a mix of like different personal values and different virtues. I should have wrote down some principles. Hold on. Let me hold on one second. I didn't think this through. So one of them is the golden rule. So treat others how you want to be treated. That's a pretty simple principle. Most people understand it. I was actually listening to a book, and I didn't know about this, but there's the silver rule. I'm not sure how many people know about this, or if this is really a rule, or if it was just the author of the book decided to put it in there. But the silver rule is essentially keep out of other people's business, which is like, all right. I mean, sure, I guess so. I mean, to what end? To what end should you stay out of other people's business? I think about it all the time, like, oh, I shouldn't bother this person. But then, you know, you hear of situations where, oh, if only somebody said something, right? You have suddenly unlocked a wealth of an indignant. What the hell was really? I've literally never heard of it. I was reading a book. What was it? Oh, it was Skin in the Game by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. They were talking about the silver rule of staying out of other people's business, which is, you know. Yeah. So one principle is the golden rule. Another one is do no harm. Listen more than you talk. Follow your gut. Just like different things to live by. Different, like you're mixing values and virtues, putting them together to have like a saying. Like my family, a saying that we have is make a plan, work the plan. That's something my family has gone by, and that's something I live by. Sometimes a bit too stringently. Sometimes I will map out every single step of a plan I have for something. But the act of mapping out that plan makes me realize how complex whatever I want to do is, which then makes me not want to do the thing because it sounds like too much. So, you know, but you know, these are important things to live by. Or Levy's principle: give up on your dreams. That's too pessimistic for me. I am a unrelenting optimist. I just can't help it. I am extremely optimistic. Everything I do. I just can't be pessimistic. It's just not in me. I can't do it. It's funny though. Yeah, I'm not really too sure what it is. The hope, please, friend, do not change. Yeah, I have a whole lot of hope for basically everything. I am a unrelenting optimist, and I cannot help it. There will be times where I feel. I remember one specific time I was pretty depressed for whatever reason. You know, ebbs and flows throughout the year, and for whatever reason. For whatever reason, this like surging like emotion came out from me, and I was just stopped being sad. I was done, and I was just like the optimism came right back, and I was just like extremely excited for just like the future, and you know, I mean, you know, it's not even that. It's basically any situation I find myself in, I am almost always immediately drawn to looking at the positive on most things. You know, in the work that I've done, you know, we've had problems, like sometimes quite large problems. And while, you know, I still do fret and I still do worry and I still do stress, usually my mind is almost immediately drawn to the positive of situations. It's almost immediately drawn to the good in situations and how to move forward. I'm not much of a sit there and think about it kind of guy if I can help it. I'm the kind of guy who I need to move. I got to keep pushing. I need to go. I got to keep going. If I have an idea and if I can personally get the thing done, I'm going to do the thing, right? and I'll spend time like thinking about stuff like this. What I'm doing, what we're doing right now. I do this literally all day. I just sit there and just think and think and think and think. And essentially, this is just me vocalizing my thoughts. So, yeah. Okay. Oh. So, these three elements we just covered, values, principles, and virtues, I think all make up the whole. These are all pillars on which good character stands for, or what good character is. These are all important aspects, and I don't think anyone can just become a good person, or just have good character and that's it. This is not a static position that you're in. You're just not. It's a constantly tested. It's a constantly tested thing. I think of who was it? Oh gosh, who was it? It was a Stoic philosopher, Seneca, maybe. I'm not too sure who it was, but I remember one of them talking specifically about being constantly tested. It's about being constantly tested every single day. Every single day is a test. You test your principles, you test your virtues, you test your values against the world. Because like I said, the world is absolute chaos. There is no consistency. Nothing makes any sense. Ever. And while it could seem like that for most of the time, I go to work, I do my work, and I go home. I get something to eat. I play video games. I go to sleep. I do that for days, weeks, months, and years on end. And so while it might not seem like, it's not chaotic, I look at literally anywhere else in the world, and I understand that I am extremely privileged to be in this type of situation. Hell, I look at other people who live here, and I understand I am extremely privileged for the position that I am in, that I do not have to worry about my home being taken away because I wasn't able to pay rent, or I have food to eat. I have a car I can drive. I have water I can drink, safe water, in fact. I understand that I'm privileged and all that. And so, but even still with all that, like there could be many chaotic events that just happen, in my life, whether that be familial or, at work, customers, when I'm helping, when we're working with customers, it's all complete chaos. And so every day is a test. You are constantly testing yourself. You're testing yourself against the world. You're not fighting against the world. The world is not your adversary. I don't think so. You are just living in it. You are in the torrent. You are in the storm. And these pillars, I believe, help you navigate through the storm. Although you're never going to leave the storm, let's be honest. You're never going to leave it. We're always here, always, forever. Of course, it keeps stuff interesting. So how do you, privilege is a slippery slope. You cannot blame yourself for having problems. You cannot blame yourself for not having problems. There are infinite ways to twist yourself into evil. Yeah. It's very easy to slip into that, but it's testing. It's a test. You're constantly testing yourself. It's a constant. You are constantly putting that rock up on the hill. I'm not sure how well Sisyphus works in this situation, but as I was putting this together, I thought of Sisyphus. It's a constant test of constantly bringing that rock up the hill. So how do you obtain? I was thinking of this in the shower. How do you like? What would that even be? How do you obtain good character? No. How do you become good character? How do you what would the word be? How do you like obtain? No. You must accept that no matter what you do, you can be categorized as evil. You must surround yourself with self-love to remind you that good is subjective and that you are what defines it. Good is something you achieve once you love yourself, not by saving others. Oh, so this I'll talk about a couple points. So that you must accept that no matter what you do, you can be categorized as evil. So this is one of the things where understanding your personal values and understanding that you are trying to be a quote unquote good person, you try to it keeps you centered. That's how you keep yourself centered. And so like I was saying in the in that previous section, having values and understanding your values, even if you are like let's say again, let's say you're having a argument with someone, and one of your values is being kind. One of your values is understanding the other person, or like trying to communicate. Now, and no matter what you do, the person, you just can't get through to them no matter what you do, regardless of if that situation ends good or not. You still kept to your values, and that's what matters. And so even if someone, like, quoting you, like you say, would call you evil, you stuck to the high road. You stuck to the high road. And it's important for, it's like, I stuck to the high road, so I'm happy. Like, I understand you hate me, but that's fine. Like, whatever. Okay. Whatever. You hate me. I don't care, because I know in my heart, I stuck to my values. I tried to work this out. It didn't work out. I understand you hate me. That's fine. Call me whatever you want. You must surround yourself with self-love to remind you that good is subjective and that you are what defines it. Yeah, I think it's important to surround yourself with people that also are, have good character. I think that's the other thing too, because we've just been talking about ourselves, right? Or we've been talking about ourselves, like in the singular. We haven't been talking about, hey, this also applies to every other person, right? Every other person you interact with should be also striving to be a good character. And a lot of people, they're not going to, and they will. You will have problems with those people. I mean, people who respect you and affirm. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's important to. I understood you. Yeah. Completely agree. It's important to surround yourself with these people who are also of good character, and by having good character, you yourself understand. You yourself as a good person, you love yourself. You understand that you are trying to be a good person. You're trying to be better every day. Even if some days you fail, you are constantly trying. And, as well as other people, you have to be around other people that recognize that struggle, and who are also going through that struggle. Who then you recognize that they recognize that you both all recognize that you're all trying to be good people, and you all treat each other well. Golden rule stuff. This is where principles. This is where principles. Why principles are such an important pillar, because the golden rules specifically, you treat others how you want to be treated. It's a pretty simple rule, and if you have the values, if you have the want to chase after virtues that treat people well, it all works out. And like you said at the end there, it's important to not bend on these things. I mean, okay. It's important not to bend on these things, but also that would require you to understand whether you are in the right or the wrong in certain situations. And so, bringing it back to this, how do you have good character? How do you become good character? How do you gain? There you go. How do you gain good character? Is you have to understand these pillars. You have to understand these ideas, values, virtues, principles. You have to understand them, understand what they mean, understand their definitions, understand not only that, what they are on paper, but what they look like in practice. You have to understand, you have to see people do them in real life. And through seeing that, you'll be able to learn what these truly mean. And so once you see these, once you understand these, and once you see these in real life, you can find your own personal areas to fix, because no matter what, we're not perfect. I had a tweet chain talking about perfection the other day. And you know, we're not perfect. And so, but striving after perfection is, I think, important. So striving to improve yourself is a constant. This is a constant thing. You can never become good character, right? Like I said before, it's not static. This is something you have to consistently work on. It's not something you can just become. This is something you spend a lot of time on. Yeah, I mean, you'll spend your whole life doing it. And there is no end goal, right? There isn't, I became good character, so I'm done, right? Right. I mean, if you wanna, but this is where religion will come into effect, which helps like answer like, why am I even doing this? Whether it is to, you know, move to after you're gone in this plane, you know, you move to, you know, whatever afterlife you've decided to subscribe to. So there's that purpose. There's that purpose there. And then, so once you understand what these ideas are, once you figure out what areas you have to fix, you have to demonstrate these ideas. You have to go out and you have to do the thing. You know, you can't just, this can't all just be thought games. You have to actively test yourself. You have to keep testing yourself every single day. You have to, you know, fight through these struggles. You need to struggle. It's going to happen. Do you believe good also means in the right? Well, in the right, I think is a situation to situation. Good is a more generalized term, or when it's used, it's more of a generalized idea. So, like, let's say you're like at home and you're with, you know, whoever, family, partner, and they say, hey, you didn't put away the dishes from the dishwasher. And then you're like, no, I did. And then, you know, they look and it's like, oh, you did. I mean, you were in the right. I wouldn't say you were good, but you were in the right. Right. I think it's a situation to situation. I mean, that's, you know, how you would use it in the English language. The deeper meaning of it, though, I mean, actually, okay. So that's for a situation to situation. We agree that's nice. Yes, it is nice. Confirmation bias, it's always nice. But now, I mean, you could look at it of being in the right. I mean, if we're talking about a historical event, or if we're talking about like, hey, you know, you had some sort of ideology that at the time most people thought was wrong, but as time progresses, you were eventually shown to be in the right. But I mean, and so were you good? You know, we can go back to good being something being good or bad can be subjective to the time period. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. Galileo. Yeah. Yeah, but like, I mean, if we're talking about the modern idea of good, you know, I mean, you could look at like what good was 2,000 years ago, but like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's 2025. We're talking about right now. I mean, we're talking about how to be good, how to obtain good character right now. Yeah, so you have to understand these ideas. You have to then go and fix the areas in which you see that, you know, you aren't as you're lacking areas you're lacking in. Then you have to demonstrate these ideas, and then you have to fail. You have to fail. This is why I put Sisyphus up here. Sisyphus always fails. He will always fail. He will never put that boulder to the top of the hill. He will always fail. But as you know, if you might have heard, one must assume Sisyphus was happy. Because, you know, there's meaning in it all, or, you know, you can derive meaning from it all. Failing just means you're learning. So, you know, you could have a situation in which you're interacting with somebody, and you know, that person or that interaction doesn't go well. Like, let's say you go and get a coffee from a coffee shop, and they're like, "Have a good day," and then you're like, or like, and then it's like, "Enjoy the drink," and then you're like, "You too," and you're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I said that." It's just the thing. I mean, it's not really good character. It's not really good character. I just thought that was funny. Yeah, I mean, it's like, oh, maybe you were interacting with someone else, and like you came off kind of rude, and like they took it as you being rude, but later on when you were going to sleep, like the second before you fall asleep, you realize, oh my god, I was being rude. I can't believe I did that. Why did I do that? It's that kind of thing. It's that kind of thing. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. You have to keep failing. On the metaphor, what if Sisyphus convinces himself that he has reached the top? What if as he rolls up the stone up the hill, he sees himself already jubilant at the peak? Does it matter to Sisyphus? Well, I think in who was it? What was his name? Yeah, it was no problem. Yeah. In Camus' like understanding of it, from what I understand, I didn't read the book. I just watched a YouTube video. I have a general idea. I know everything about Camus. Don't worry. I have a complete understanding of everything he's ever wrote. I watched one YouTube video. I understand everything. No. From what I understand, him saying one must assume Sisyphus is happy is because Sisyphus, in rolling up the boulder forever, has purpose. Rather than not having purpose And like all of us, we don't really have purpose. We try to assign our own purpose. He was assigned a purpose, and this purpose he will forever do. He doesn't have to worry about like what's next. He doesn't have to make these decisions. He doesn't have to think about any of that. All he has to do is roll that boulder up the hill. And in that act of being assigned this purpose, in that act of his purpose being assigned to him, he's happy. And so, you know, there's not that. I mean, does it matter if he rolls it up the hill? Does it matter if he actually does it? I don't think it matters. I don't think it really matters. Whether he actually reaches the top or not, or whether he yeah, I don't think it matters. I don't think actually getting the boulder to the top matters. I wouldn't think so. I think it's just the act of having that, just the act of doing. It's not the goal. It's the journey. Yeah, it's the journey. It's not the destination. So good character. Good character is values. Oh, hold on. I had an idea. So to have good character, what was it? Hold on. I had something I was gonna say. I was gonna make a video out of this. I mean, return to situation of attaining good character. If there is a person who truly, utterly, blindly believes themselves to be God, what difference is there between that and actually being God to that deluded individual? Oh, it's everybody else. Everybody else understands that guy's kind of crazy. Everybody else understands that, brother, ChatGPT told you you're a god. You're not a god. You're going through psychosis. Let the men in the white suits help you. It's gonna be okay. It's like you're going through a little psychosis. ChatGPT just told you you're God. It's like, I understand it called you a prophet. I understand that, but like let's just you know, it's that other pillar. It's a virtue. It's that virtue. Because I mean, they could believe themselves to but to that individual, they have truly achieved goodness. No one can shake that faith and stop them. I mean, yeah, but they don't have good character. I mean, well, to have good character relies on other people existing. It relies on, and like, I guess this is good. So like, if one of the pillars of having a good character is understanding yourself to be good. I mean, but that's still just one of the pillars, right? It's still one. It's still not all of it. I mean, I guess you could believe you're good, but they believe themselves to have good character. They hear every word as praise, and they oh, hi Lily, how are you? And they see every action as worship. They believe themselves to have good character. That's good. Hopefully your week's going well. Ah, you're on break. There you go. You're on break. Okay, so they believe themselves to have good character. They hear every word as praise, and they see every action as worship. I mean, I guess to themselves they could believe it. I mean, I guess so, but because having good character absolutely relies on virtues. Virtues is a fundamental part to having good character. I mean, I guess they could delude themselves into that. And, you know, that's, you know, I mean, at that point, you know, what's it matter? As long as they're not harming other people, you know, I mean, I don't. Now, typically, people who believe themselves to be a god eventually harm people. They're not really just, yeah, I believe I'm a god. I just live in this hut in the middle of the woods. I'm a god. Like, I don't think they, I don't think that's how that works. But that is a good point where it's like, you know, it tries, that breaks down the, because, well, part of being good character, part of having good character is society also seeing you, being perceived. You're being perceived by society in some way. And so, you know, one part is, I mean, if you want to solely believe everything I do is good and everything anyone says to me is praise, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's good for them. I mean, I guess so. I wouldn't classify it as good character because, you know, that's not me. And so from the outside, I can see like, okay, you know, to you, this individual is utterly deranged, but to that person who's so insane, they perceive themselves as being perceived as good. Yeah, I mean, I guess they've won. But they only won to themselves. And in that, is that like fulfilling? I mean, I guess so. And I guess that begs the question, well, why do you even need like external validation then, if you can just believe yourself to be a god? I mean, I guess they would have effectively won, but to the eyes of the population, to the eyes of society, they're just crazy. And so, whilst sure it does work for them, I mean, you know, that's not really, because you know, just having good character in and of itself isn't, I guess, like, it's like having good character is like a means to like do things. It's a means to have relationships and be able to maintain relationships. It's a means to being able to eventually have like a family and some sort of like social life, right? It's just like the way you get to all that, and you're able to remain balanced and remain like stable through like the torrent, through the storms, and the chaotic world that we live in. That's really what it is. And like, I mean, if that person, I mean, I guess they won. I don't, I mean, sure. But in the act of doing that, they are cutting themselves, essentially they are cutting themselves off from society. They are just eliminating two of the pillars, and just, they stand alone at the top, which, I mean, okay, sure. I mean, I guess you won, but it's like, it's you know what it is? Hold on. It's literally this. It's literally just this. And it's like, I mean, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's, I mean, it's not an impossible. I mean, there's people out there who, you know, believe themselves to be, you know, great in every single way. And like, I mean, it's like, well, what do you do with those people? It's like, all right, man. It's like, hey, I'm a god. It's like, oh, okay, man, that's cool. And it's like, everything I say is right. It's like, all right, that's great. I'm so happy for you. And it's like, that's how you, I don't know how else you deal with those people other than like, bro, what? Cause like, if you like interact with those people, it's like, it's basically impossible to like properly like, now, usually these types of people only come to this conclusion because of extremely traumatic or extremely horrific events that they've gone through in their lives. And so usually these people, they just need help. Like they need help. And so, you know, and so, you know, these people need help in some way, to try to get back to try to center themselves. Because otherwise, you know, they'll fall off the path and just, like, you know, tumble down whatever hill that we're walking on, or they'll just, like, sink in whatever ocean we're sailing on. And, like, you know, I mean, that can be fine. I know some people would be like, yeah, just throw the guy overboard, but for some people it's like, hey, you know, maybe we should, like, help this guy out. This guy seems like he's, like, going through some stuff, and, like, I kind of feel bad, which is a virtue, empathy. It's so, you know, us, okay, for people that have good character, for people that try to obtain, gain good character, they would see this guy as like, hey, this guy needs help. Like, you know, we can't just, like, throw him to the wolves, as much as some people would like to, but it's like, all right, yeah, well, you know, I don't think that's the best thing to do. I mean, you can do it, but it's like, is it the best thing to do? Okay. Perhaps, have you not heard of those insane ones born with a silver spoon? They stood up top for. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the ultra wealthy, the people. Yeah, even still, most of the time, the reason that those people end up like that is because, even with all of the money and all of the power, they are still, not whole. They are still missing. There's things that are still missing, and so, you know, there's some people that are, truly irredeemable, but, you know, I don't think you should cast those people aside. I don't think, you know, I mean, I guess you can, but I don't really see what the purpose of that is, because they're still going to exist, with us, and so having that person, you know, gain some sort of empathy or some sort of understanding of the world, the larger world as a whole, because most of the time those people are in a bubble, right? They're in some sort of bubble. They only hang around people like themselves, and so because of that, they gain these worldviews that are reprehensible. And whether you can change it or not, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there should still be an effort to, but if at some point, you know, it's I mean, if at some point there's nothing you can do, it's like, all right, well, you know, let them do what they want, but, you know, it depends on how much, if they're going to hurt people, and then it's like, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I remember a news story. A bullied child's parents were begging at the feet of the bully's parents, pleading for mercy and condemning their child who did nothing wrong, but lashed out at unprovoked injustice. I have no empathy for them. Yeah. I think it just depends on the situation. I think it depends on the situation. And, you know, like, religion specifically Christianity, calls for forgiveness, giving forgiveness. Now, you know, you can give forgiveness, but there should be, there should be, you know, how do I say this? There should be, like, repercussions for actions that hurt other people. There should be repercussions for it, not just forgiveness given at, with nothing, you know, forgiveness given for nothing, right? There should be repercussions for things that happen. And, like, having no empathy for them, I mean, it's understandable to not have empathy. You know, it's understandable for all that. Yeah, that's that's a complicated situation. It's a complicated situation. I'm not really too sure. It's difficult. It's difficult. But this is the thing. This is the thing. It's constantly testing. You're constantly testing. You're constantly trying to look at situations and trying to you know, understand, trying to empathize, trying to like understand. All right. Oh, here, let's okay. So, good character requires values. Okay, no, hold on. Okay, yeah, I thought of a video. How was I gonna word it? Okay, so to have good character, you need to have values. You need to have virtues. No, not have virtues. You need to, how do I explain this? Okay. No, so to have good character, you have to have values. You have to have values that you believe in which you yourself believe you are doing things for the good. It's hard to like kind of like summarize values since it's such a wide topic. But yeah, virtuous, seek to become someone virtuous. So to have good characters, you have to have strong moral values. You have to seek to become virtuous, and you have to then combine those values and virtues into principles in which you live by. And then with those values, principles, and virtues, you have to improve consistently. Doing all these things together makes you have good character. And it's difficult to do. It's not easy to do. It takes lifetimes to do. Sometimes people can never do it. But I think striving for it is a good thing. I think trying to obtain it is a good thing. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you like this video, I have my last Friday show right here in the corner. You can go watch. But if you wanted to watch my show live, I'm live Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Tuesdays, we cover gaming and tech-related news. And on Fridays, I do a deep dive in some topic I'm interested in. New topics every week. Come on by.